Welcome, everybody, to these March 2026 bonus messages. I'm Devin Dewar, and these are for all 12 signs. I do encourage you to listen to all 12 signs because you do have all 12 signs in your chart. And as always, I will do bonus messages at the end that are meant to clarify anything that resonated with you, gave you angel bumps, or you just thought, I wonder if that's for me. So definitely stay tuned for the bonus messages at the end. I will put them in the chapter markers below. And let's jump right in, getting started with the Aries. Okay, Aries, what do we have for your bonus March 2026 messages? These are meant to update all the other March messages we are doing. Getting started, you have the Three of Water. Three of Water, a celebration, a wedding graduation, birth announcement, the need to have more fun. Okay, we're going to pull all of this together. By the way, I hope you are having an amazing birthday season if you're listening to this towards the end of March. Hopefully you're making big plans if you're listening to it right when it releases. Your second card is the Balance card, compromise, self-control, and moderation. Well, maybe this is just kind of that little heads up about, everything in moderation when we're celebrating our birthday, but we'll pull it all together. What do we have from the past life deck for Aries for your bonus messages? We have expressive talents, creativity, the arts. All right, let's pull all of this together. It sounds like you're being asked to get out there and do something you used to love doing. Think back when you were a kid. What were the kinds of things that you could do for hours? You loved it so much. You felt so creative. This is what you're being asked to do in March. Now, of course, approaching your birthday season, is there any birthday wishes you have? How you would like to spend your birthday? And I do hope you celebrate all season long, but this card is really resonating with me about needing to have more fun. And this Balance card about everything in moderation is really speaking to all the hard work you've been doing will pay off, but you have to have balance, right? Work hard, play hard. Make sure you have balance in those three areas of your life that I always talk about: your health and fitness, your career and finance. If you're retired, that would be your legacy, and of course your relationships, not just romantic, all relationships. We want to have balance in all three areas of our life, and so if we're too focused on work, our relationships or our health could suffer, or vice versa, right? So really think about, as you see this card. In fact, I'm going to put it up to the camera again, the overhead, because for those of you listening on the podcast platforms, which by the way, this show is available on all the major platforms, Spotify, Apple, etc. So if you're just listening, not watching, there's a beautiful sunny room with a beautiful old-fashioned writing desk, and it says creativity, the arts. And of course, this is a past life deck, so it could literally be a gift from your past life that you need to pull into this lifetime. But I would say whatever popped into your mind right away of something you used to do that you absolutely loved doing and you could do forever. Now, not forever, we're being asked for balance, but bringing in that fun. And I also want to, I'm hearing for some Aries specifically, there's something else right now that you're doing that you really enjoy, but you're not giving yourself enough time to do it. If you had more time, you would spend a lot more time doing it. So for some Aries, this is not necessarily something from their childhood, but it's this new interest in learning about it or creating it or sharing it, and making sure that you are spending that time doing that. And the other thing I want to mention with the Three of Water is, yes, we have all this fiery energy. Once the sun moves into your sign at the end of March, we have Saturn and Neptune there. Venus is there now. It won't be there for long. It will be moving on to Taurus towards the end of the month, but this is a lot of fiery energy. And here we have this water energy, Three of Water coming in, reminding you we don't want to ignore what our feelings are telling us about what might be out of balance and where we could bring in some of those creative talents where we really get to enjoy ourselves. So basically the overall message I'm hearing for Aries right now is just watch out that you're not being too hard on yourself. You're not overworking yourself. A big message I've gotten for Aries for the last several months is that we want to make sure you have supporting team members, people who will support your role, so you're not doing it all yourself. But then also, you don't want to get so far ahead of your team that they're not able to support you because they're not quite sure where you're headed or what you're doing. So maybe you're taking a little break, going on a little trip, and letting your team be the support role while you're gone. And of course, if you're not working, if this isn't a business, this could be asking a neighbor, asking a group of friends, asking somebody to support things that you need done while you're taking this break, while you're working on something that you really love. So let me know in the comments, Aries, what is some creative talent that you love doing? You could do it for hours without getting tired. I'd love to hear it. If you don't know what that is, leave me an emoji. It really helps my channel out. I do read every single one of your comments, and I really appreciate you liking, subscribing, and sharing. It really helps my channel out. And let's see what we have for the Tauruses. Taurus, okay, for your bonus messages, your first card is Queen of Air. Let's let that focus there. Independent, experienced, realistic, witty, objective decision-making, clearing away what no longer serves you, seeing the humor in the situation. Yes, I can understand where with all these the two eclipses we've just gone through, a lot of stuff has come to an end or changed direction or just has not quite turned out the way we thought. And we are, all of us, being asked to find the humor in that, but also see what we learned from it, what ideas we gained from that. So let's keep going so we can pull all this together. The second card we have for Taurus is the Three of Fire. Goals, expansion, and vision. I love this card. It's definitely a card of teamwork. It's a card of sharing ideas and collaborating together. If you missed my Mercury retrograde live I did with Chris Reck, check that out. We talked about the Mercury retrograde. You may be reviewing old ideas. Oh, I just dropped your card. You may be reviewing old ideas and realizing, wow, I could do this so much better if I did a collaboration with these ideas, right? Or it could also be that you realize you thought you were going to be working with a group of people and that has shifted. Sometimes that happens with eclipses, is you've got a collaboration going and things don't quite work out, but then you find a better group of people to work with or better ideas or a better way of doing it. Let's see what your third card is before we pull all this together. We have the personal power card, strength and determination. Well, I mean, I know my Taurus is, you guys are determined. When you want something, you go for it. You don't let others sway you. You focus on what you're doing. And I really think that, if you're doing some kind of collaboration here, that's where I would ask you to continue to stay committed to what it is that your heart is really wanting, especially if maybe there has been some communication in the past where people are, it could be constructive criticism where they're saying, hey, you're doing a great job, but we think you should consider this. You should bring this into it. And maybe it really is practical advice, but it kind of stung a little bit. Like maybe the way they said it kind of stung, or it's just hard hearing the truth. But if you are really being objective, probably they're coming from a place of love and they genuinely are supporting you. So that could be where they are part of your team. They're helping you seek out your goals. And they may be telling you, look, I know you can do this, but you're going to have to change a few things and just continue to be determined. So the big message I'm getting here for Tauruses, or wherever you have Taurus in your chart, is if constructive criticism comes your way in March, really try to see the humor in it, really try to be objective about it, because it is so that you will get where you're going, and don't let it stop you, right? I mean, sometimes people really are trying to help you along your way, and we don't realize that our ego has been hurt, and so it deflates us. But go back to the reason you started this in the first place and call in your spiritual team for help. Remain strong and determined. So if information came your way that you just didn't love, Don't let it deter you, right? You guys are very determined. I know you can do this, right? So I think some people are ending business relationships. Some people are ending romantic relationships. Some people are ending just people they're hanging around with. And maybe it is constructive criticism from a mentor or a coach or an agent. And you're having to say, okay, that didn't feel so good, but it's probably true. Let's laugh about this and let's stay focused on our goals. All right, Taurus. So what are you determined to keep going with in March? I'd love to read your comments. Even if you just leave me emojis, I read every single one. It really helps my channel out. And thank you so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing. Moving on to Geminis. Gemini, your first card for your March 2026 bonus is Knight of Fire. Passionate, adventurous, self-assured, and restless. A sudden event that needs immediate attention. It wasn't focusing there. Think things through carefully. Yeah, I definitely do think that, Geminis, there's probably going to be a lot of ideas coming through with Mercury, your ruling planet, in retrograde at the time I'm sharing these messages. It could be that you're just getting a lot of ideas from reviewing things, seeing what's working, seeing what's not. And it's going to be a little hard not to just go ahead and take action on these realizations you're having right now. But let's keep going with the guidance, because I do think this is a card of reminding you have more time than you think you do with something. So your second card is the Nine of Air. There we go. Negativity, worry, and sleepless. Yeah. I feel like if you don't take your time with something, you're going to end up in this Nine of Air situation where you're like, I overcommitted, I overspent, I overlooked an idea or an email or something that I needed to say or do. So let's pull it all together after we get your next card, which is the Devotion card. Wow, similar to Taurus's, where it's about, staying devoted, spiritual practices, and intuitive history. All right, so pulling all this together, Geminis, what I really feel like is going on is you have taken your spiritual practices to the next level. You have taken following your intuition to the next level, and it really has served you well, especially with creative projects, especially with the direction that you're moving in with your life. I see big, exciting things coming for you. Just take your time, and I really encourage you to use this retrograde energy, even if you're listening to this at the end of the month. After Mercury's gone direct, it will still be in shadow through, I want to say, either April 7th or April 12th. I looked it up last week and said it on the Minnow Pond Tarot live, but I don't remember off the top of my head. Just remember that you have more time than you realize, and you can use this Mercury retrograde to review what's been working. And try not to let your mind take over, because you've been working so hard to use your intuition going forward. And I do feel like, with this Nine of Air card, this can show up when the things you're doing are so successful that it starts to become fear of success. Like, oh my gosh, what did I commit to? What is this going to take? What's going to have to change, right? It's exciting, but it's also a lot. I always use the example of like getting married. Most people are super excited about getting married. It's something that's the ideas they both want, and the family supported, hopefully, and all those things. But then there's all the stress that comes with it. Did I remember this? Did I get the invitations right? Did I do da-da-da-da? And it brings in this stress. So a lot of times it's something we're excited to do, but then it brings that in, and we don't want to try to control an outcome with worry. And that is definitely something that we as humans do. We sometimes think that if we worry enough, we can control the outcome. And the spiritual practice, this is what you're seeing with devotion, is that surrender, right? You're surrendering to the things that you cannot control. You're doing the best you can to protect your energy, and you're remembering to listen to your intuition. That's why I love that pocket affirmation, I am in divine flow. If you want to write that in the comment section below, because it's that reminder that when you're in a flow, that you don't have to worry, because you are allowing things to unfold. You are calling in help from your spiritual team for things to work out in your highest interest, and you are listening to your intuition. So these impulsive things that are coming in, you're being reminded that you might be acting on an ego thought or like something from your mind versus your intuition. And you've already worked so hard on using your intuition, and you are naturally intuitive. don't go backwards just because Mercury's retrograde, right? That's basically what I'm hearing for Geminis is like, you know how far you've come with this. So just don't fall back into old patterns, which is something that we can do with a Mercury retrograde or if we get impulsive. And now we're right back in that hamster wheel, waking up in the middle of the night, thinking about all of the things that could go wrong or we still have to get done or whatever, instead of just going, you know what? I am in divine flow, calling your spiritual team's help, and all will be well. So let me know, what are you using your intuition for these days, Geminis? You are so naturally intuitive, but you always see both sides, so it causes you to second guess it. And what are the things that you do to slow down your mind so that you're not caught in that worry? I read every single one of your comments. It really helps my channel out, even if you're just leaving me emojis. I love it so much. Thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing. I really appreciate it. All right, moving on to Cancers. Cancers, for your bonus March 2026 messages, you have the Knight of Water. Gotta love that water energy for our Cancer signs or wherever you have Cancer in your chart. We have emotional, romantic, enthusiastic, contemplative, falling in love, wedding proposals. Ooh, that's exciting. The need to balance emotions and, of course, an invitation to a social event. I have seen this coming up a lot for Cancers around getting an offer. And I think for some of Cancers, it's an offer to join in on something, an event, an invitation to, do something. But of course, with wedding proposals, maybe it's an offer of marriage, right? Or maybe it's a new job offer that you weren't looking for. Let's keep going so we can pull it all together. Your second card is the King of Earth. Prosperous, generous, and successful. Ooh, I really like that coming in after this offer card. If you've been feeling any insecurity around your material resources, or if you are putting too much time and energy, because a lot of times people think, oh, money, 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 but it's also what you're putting your time and energy into, that this offer that's coming in is going to probably bring you an opportunity to really feel grounded with your material resources and where you're putting your energy. And it could even be a person coming into your life who's going to help with that. But let's keep going so we can get some, oh my gosh, I'm just laughing seeing this card. We'll pull it all together. Your third card is Explorer, Traveler, and Wanderer. If you're listening on one of the podcast platforms, this is a sailor with his binoculars on a ship, and he's just looking so excited to wander around. Okay. And I have been getting so much about Cancers traveling lately, even if it's just more short distance traveling, like maybe you're commuting to a location more. I always think of the example for me as a Cancer sun sign is my daughter's doing club volleyball and it's regional. So all of a sudden I'm taking a lot of short distance trips I normally wouldn't make. It's fun, but it takes more organization, and it kind of makes me giggle because I'm like, whoop, that's me. I'm getting out of my comfort zone, having to go do things on the weekends I don't normally do. But it's getting you out there in a bigger way, and it's getting you exposed to things you're not normally exposed to. And that can help us get unstuck if we're feeling stuck creatively. I'm not saying you are feeling stuck creatively. I don't feel that at all. I actually feel, Cancers, that you are getting some kind of offer. This offer may come in from somebody who already is very secure with their material resources, or it's somebody who's going to give you an offer that creates that environment for you. So be willing to travel, being willing to explore, be willing to wander, right? So I just feel like, if you do get an opportunity to go to an event that's going to require a little traveling, listen to your intuition. We do have Mercury retrograde at the time I'm recording this, and it will be in shadow through the end of March. So these are March messages. Just make sure you're dotting your I's, crossing your T's. It doesn't mean you don't say yes, though. You're just taking your time to review your options. You're dotting your I's, crossing your T's, and making sure you're asking all the right questions. Like, what time would I have to be there? Is there transportation available once I get there, or do I need to rent a car? I'm just using that example in case you're traveling, but it could be any kind of offer where maybe you're being asked to join an event right? And, a lot of these events are different and you don't know whether they're going to have tables and chairs there for you or bring your own folding chair, those kinds of things. So I'm excited to see what this is for you, Cancers. Do you have any travel plans on the horizon where you could fit a little exploratory time in? That could be fun. Like maybe you're going for work, but there's an afternoon where you could sneak out and go see some things. Or maybe you haven't spent enough time exploring where you're going beforehand so you can get ideas. That's one of my favorite things to do is if I'm going to a new location is to go online and watch YouTube videos about the location. I listen to what the realtors have to say because they know the area. I listen to day travelers because they're brand new to it. I listen to people who kind of live in the area and maybe they're just sharing their art and their music, but they talk about the area. And you get this whole tune in of energy of where you might want to go see things, where you might want to eat. So anyways, that's for all 12 signs. I'm excited. Let me know, Cancers. Are you guys planning to travel? Are you planning to take anybody up on an offer? Do you get an offer? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one of your comments and I really appreciate it, even if it's just emojis. I love seeing all the fun emojis. Somebody left me a little candle emoji last time. I loved it. I was like, oh, I didn't even know that emoji was on there. So thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing. It really helps my channel out. Okay. There we go. Leos, what do we have for Leos for the bonus March messages? We have the Four of Water here, missing an opportunity, discontentment, open your eyes to the possibilities. You guys have been getting a lot of energy around making sure you're not focusing on what you don't have, focusing on how you don't, like you don't feel something for something. You're like very discontented, very upset about something and you're getting a little too caught in those emotions instead of looking for opportunities. So let's see what else we can bring in for you, Leos, because you have so much love to offer the world. And a lot of times you guys forget to give yourself the love you deserve. So let's see what else is coming in. See if we can get some clarity here. We have the Knight of Water, romantic, emotional, dramatic. So more watery energy coming in for the Leos. And really making sure you're not getting caught up in the drama. I am feeling this energy of needing to just watch your thoughts and watch that you're not allowing yourself to sit in really sad emotions, or like, I guess the easy example would be putting on the really sad playlist on repeat for 3 days, right? Or watching really depressing movies over and over. I'm not saying that's what you're doing, but watch your environment and watch how it's affecting you. And if you're catching yourself getting caught in, oh, this didn't work out, or this person never appreciates me, or I really wanted to have the romance of a life and now I feel bored, whatever these things are for you. And I'm just using that as examples. This could be with work. This could be with a project. We want to focus on how can we shift that energy. So let's get your third card and then we'll pull it all together. We have Caretaker. Putting others first, So Leos, you have been putting others first. This is something that you've been known for doing. And I know that Leos often don't get that kind of energy coming through, or you could get kind of a bad rap for being focused on the wrong things. But in your heart of hearts, it's because you are a caretaker. Your heart wants to take care of others, but a lot of times you don't get that in return. So what I'm seeing here for the Leos is just that, you may have had things not really turn out the way you want when it comes to the reciprocation. Like maybe you went out of your way to surprise a loved one and they kind of seemed underwhelmed by it, right? Or they didn't really appreciate it. Maybe it was a romantic gesture. Maybe it was a surprise for your kids or your parents. And they're just like, thanks, maybe they don't, or maybe they just didn't, they didn't express it the way you thought they would. Or sometimes it can even be that their reaction was kind of dramatic and it caused a deep reaction in you. And you're saying, well, hold on, I put all this time and energy and thought into this, and you're not even appreciating that. But just remember that, again, the self-love is what's huge here. And I was saying that even before I pulled this card, Leos, that you have so much love to offer, but often you forget to do it on the inside for yourself. And so I feel like what these cards are saying is if you are feeling like you're getting pulled into drama, or you're feeling this emotion come up that can kind of cause drama, where you're wanting to have this dramatic reaction to something someone says or does, first go inside and ask your inner self, your heart, why do I feel this way? Why do I feel so rejected? Why do I feel so unseen? Why do I feel so hurt by the way either the way this person reacted or the lack of reaction? Because that's what I'm really feeling. I feel like maybe something you put out into the world didn't get the response from the people you care about most. And you're thinking, well, why do I even do this? I do all these things for them and they don't even notice when I do all this work. And, I always cheer them on. I always show up for them. And then when I put out my big, heart project, or I share this big thing with them, I don't get it in return. So just watch out for that, because that's what I feel like is coming in. What it really is that on the inside, you're needing to give yourself credit for how loving you are, how amazing you are, how creative you are. And maybe you just haven't done that recently because you've been too focused on giving everybody else attention and giving everybody else credit. And that's why I always say I feel like Leos get a bad rap. People say, oh, Leos want to be on stage. They want to be this, steal the show. They want to be in the spotlight. That's not been my experience with most of the Leos I know. Even if they come off that way, the heart of hearts of them, the true energy that I see in their heart and in their soul is very loving, very giving, very high vibrational. Like it chokes me up because you guys are so sensitive and loving that a lot of times there's a mask there that you're having to portray just to protect how big your heart is. And your heart is huge, Leos. And I just love you guys. So just watch out for that. Maybe you're needing to spend a little bit more time going inside and saying, why did this hurt me so much, before we're having these big dramatic interactions with people. And if you find yourself attracting those really dramatic people, that could also be, I don't like to go into the whole inner child thing too, but it could be your inner child saying, you're not giving me enough attention. You're getting caught up in the drama, right? So let me know what's going on for you guys, Leos. I read every single comment, even if it's just emojis, and I absolutely love it. Thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing as well, because they all help my channel grow so much. I really appreciate it. Thanks for being here. And let's move on to Virgos. Virgos, for your bonus March 2026 messages, we have Justice. You guys get this card a lot. You're kind of like, Devin, did you even shuffle? Fair and just decisions. Do what you know is right. Stand up for your beliefs. Sorry. Virgos do not have a problem doing this. And that's kind of why it's like, okay, tell us what we don't know, Devin, right? But you do get that card a lot because you are willing to do that. You are willing to do that. But sometimes it's not viewed in the way it's intended. Right? You have these intentions and other people are kind of like, whoa, Virgo, like, where did that come from? Especially when you're wielding a big sword, even if you're in the right. So let's see what else we have so we can pull all this together for you. So Two of air, indecision, avoidance, and confusion. Interesting. Because you're getting the Two of air after the Justice card. You know what I'm feeling here? This is kind of interesting because it's a different energy than what I normally get from Justice when I pull it for Virgos. It feels a little bit like you are still having a little bit of shell shock. You had those eclipses in your sign starting back in March 2025, and here we are in March 2026. I think for most Virgos, or whatever part of your chart you have Virgo in, there's been some big changes. And maybe you're a little shell-shocked from that, and you're realizing, I am a little stuck. I'm not really communicating what I need. I need to make a decision on how to get unstuck, but I'm not really sure what it is I want to do. It's like a very, very specific message. It's not directly related. I do read intuitively, not literally. So let's see what your third card is, because we're going to pull all this together for you guys. Oh, Archangel Michael, strength, courage, and letting go. And usually Archangel Michael is depicted with the sword. Let's see, in this picture, yes. This picture, if you're listening on the podcast platforms, Archangel Michael does have a sword. So 2 cards with swords, right? Does it say Archangel Michael? No, this is Archangel Raguel on it. The first Justice card says Raguel. But the point is you're getting all these swords, right? Because there's some decision you need to make, but the communication that you're getting is still murky. It's like you're having a hard time really listening to your intuition when normally you're really good at that. And people don't even know you listen to your intuition so much. But I think there's some communication that needs to happen here. So let's see what we can pull together. Virgos, what I'm really feeling here is you've been holding back on communicating with your higher self, but also with loved ones, with people around you, for fear of getting hurt, for fear of getting stuck in a situation. And with this Archangel Michael card here, strength, courage, and letting go, this is again, who are we talking to about this? Who are we talking about surrender to? Was it Taurus or Gemini? But this is for all 12 signs. Sometimes we have to surrender to the things that we can't control. We have to let go of trying to control an outcome. So with all these cards here, I feel like this Justice card is actually saying you're still trying to control an outcome when you really don't have control. And you are protected on your path, right? You are protected on your path. That's what Archangel Michael is showing up here as, this protection energy. But you're going to have to trust. And I feel like with this 2 of air card here, it's kind of admitting to yourself that you are avoiding something. You're avoiding getting back out there in the dating scene. You're avoiding getting back out there in the creative scene. Maybe you started a project and put it down for fear of how the world would see it. But there is this kind of murky, confusing energy where you're feeling resistance. And the resistance is because of things in the past that have been painful, that have been harmful, or you've just felt were really unfair. And that's completely understandable, Virgos. Please do not be hard on yourself about that. That's completely understandable. But in order to move forward, you're going to have to trust you're protected. You are going to have to take one step at a time. Even the tiniest baby step counts to get out of this stuck energy. So what is it that you feel like you're resisting? What do you feel like you're trying to control? And, again, trusting that we were talking about this with an earlier sign. We can't worry enough to get the outcome we want, right? You're not going to be able to worry to the point that you get it the way you want. In fact, most of the time worrying causes things to not go the way we want. It causes them to be a self-fulfilling prophecy. So that's where we have to lean into our spiritual practice, lean into connection with your higher self, your angels, your spiritual team, which of course is your passed away loved ones, your guardian angels, so many beings that can help you trust and know that you're protected on your path. So let me know, Virgos, what are these things that you need to let go of, that you need to make a decision of, or just leave me some emojis and let me know how you're doing. I read every single comment. I really appreciate it. Thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing. It really helps my channel out. I really appreciate it, you guys. All right, Libras. Libras, for your March bonus messages, we have the Queen of Earth. Thoughtful, creative, warm, sensible. Make time for those around you. Take a sensible approach. Deal with challenges in a kind and understanding manner. Yeah, I do think this energy coming through is just, Libras, you're really good at seeing both sides. And you do need balance in all areas of your life, your health and fitness, your career and finance, your relationships, not just romantic, but parent, children, all of them. And I feel like this Queen of Earth energy is coming in to tell you, you can balance all the areas of your life through making sure you feel secure with your material resources and where you're putting your energy. If you're putting too much energy into something, it's going to be harder to bring that balance in that you enjoy so much. Let's see what our next card is. Oh my goodness. Another Queen card. Queen of Air. Brilliant, experienced, humorous. This is you guys, Libras. You're so smart and intelligent and witty. You're so such good readers. You're so knowledgeable. You're so good at looking at things from a different viewpoint. But there is this need to communicate some things And I feel like for a lot of you, there's a story you need to share, and it's based on your experience. And this material security is going to come from you trusting in the knowledge you have to share. You have something wise to share with the world. However, what I'm also hearing is we don't want to be so quick to criticize ourselves or others who oppose our ideas and the way we see things, that it costs us, right? Sometimes it's just not worth the energy to get into that argument or discussion. Even if it's not an argument, it's just an intense discussion. Sometimes it's not worth it. So what are you choosing not to engage with, especially with communication, because it's just too draining? Let's get your third card and we'll pull it all together. Libras, your third card is servitude, loss of power or control. This is from my past life deck, so it could literally mean in your past or when you were younger, you were always of service to everyone else and you didn't really have a lot of control over your schedule. But this is something we want to stay away from with this energy. And I think that with these two Queen of Air cards here, they're not sitting there serving others to the extent that they're drained and they're out of resources and they don't have the ability to share. They are queens, so they are of service, but they're doing it in a leadership way instead of being told by others what to do. And what I feel like with this servitude card coming after the Queen of Air and what I was talking about earlier with the Queen of Earth is you are serving your higher needs and yourself to walk away from situations that are not fair exchanges of energy, where the giving and receiving cycle is out of balance. So ask yourself that, am I being overworked in this job? Am I being overburdened with things for the family? I need some help bringing that back into balance. Am I doing this to myself? I know a lot of Libras will do things because they feel they should do it when it's not really serving them. It's not really restoring their energy and getting them back to a place where they can feel like they're in balance. So I would ask you to just survey those three areas of your life: your health and fitness, your career and finance. If you're retired, this would be your legacy, and your, of course, relationships, not just romantic, but parent, children, whatever. And say to yourself, do I feel like I'm overworked in this area? Do I feel like every time that I talk to this person or I do this thing that I come away drained? And remember that you can be of service without being a servant. And I think that's really where the message is coming through. Are you of service but still in charge and still able to communicate the things you want to communicate? Or are you being pushed into a corner where you're being of service the way other people want you to do it? And it reminds me of that saying my dad used to talk about. Was it my dad? I can't remember. It was maybe a friend of his, but that told him to tell me that, selfishness is not doing things that you want. It's not selfish to do things the way you want to do. Queen of Air here. Let's get to the point here, right, Libras? Being selfish is expecting other people to do things the way you want them to do them, right? That servitude card, like expecting them to serve you the way you want it. Whereas, doing something for yourself and saying, I'm putting a boundary down. This is too draining. I'm not doing it this way anymore. That's not being selfish. So, an easy example would be a lot of people will start volunteering for a nonprofit, and maybe it's not being run very well. It's not very organized, or the resources aren't being managed properly. And it becomes too much of a burden on the person trying to volunteer their energy, but they feel like they should do it because they said they would, and they become basically a servant to this cause. But that energy is still there where it's draining, and is it really even helping the organization if this is how everybody feels? So that's just a random side note conversation. Maybe somebody literally is dealing with some kind of volunteer, needed to hear that. But let me know what's going on for you, Libras. I'd love to hear what kind of communication you're needing to have. I read all your comments, even emojis. So thank you for commenting, liking, sharing, and subscribing. I really appreciate it. All right, Scorpios. For the Scorpios, we have, for March bonus messages, 8 of Air, an illusion of being trapped, a lack of self-confidence, afraid to take action. Yeah, leaving a comfort zone behind, leaving a group of people where you you feel comfortable because it's a known quantity, but it's not really serving you. Let's keep going. We'll pull all this together. Your second card is Queen of Water, loving, giving, and psychic. Yes, you are highly psychic, Scorpios. You are very loving, and really bringing in that master energy there. And then your past life card is deceit, betrayal, and manipulation. Yeah, so with this Eight of Air card here, you are leaving a group of people behind, a community, a situation, a job where you were being lied to. People were not being upfront with you. People were not telling you how they really feel. They were manipulating you. And it's painful because you're going into the unknown. You don't know what else is out there. But with this Queen of Water card here, you have to remember how psychic and intuitive you are. So let's pull all this together. If you lean on your intuition and you lean on your ability to really read the energy, you're going to be just fine. You're being pulled in this direction anyways. It's in your highest interest to leave this behind. Yes, you may have been burned in the past. Maybe you've been cheated on one too many times that you're not willing to get out there again and share your heart. Or it could just be that you are so loyal that you keep putting up with the manipulation because you love somebody so much, or you love the environment, or you love the group of people. But you really do have to remember that, if that energy is there, it's codependent and it's not serving either party. So even if you love this group of people or this situation a lot, it may not be the best energy. And I feel like this Queen of Water energy is saying, you know what to do. You know how to rise above this energy. You know how to let your intuition guide you away from this person, place, thing, group of people that is manipulating your time and energy. It's really a deceitful energy. And in a way, there is a level of you deceiving yourself because you're like, but I love this person. I love this activity. I love this group of people and they rely on me, right? So you're even kind of deceiving yourself and you're feeling loyal because Scorpios are so loyal that you're kind of talking yourself out of what your intuition is trying to tell you. And I do think sometimes we do that. We wear those rose-colored glasses because we feel like, the pain of leaving something behind is more than dealing with the deceit. But ultimately, our higher self is going to be calling to us, do what you know is in your highest interest, okay? So any issue that you've been feeling a pull to leave behind, listen to your intuition and let me know what's going on with you guys. I'd love to hear it. I read all your comments. Leave me some emojis or just what's been going on with you guys. And thank you so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing. It really helps my channel out. Okay, Sagittarius, what do we have for you guys for your March bonus messages? Your first one is the Emperor card, Archangel Michael, organization and logic, structure and discipline, leadership. Yeah, there is something you're getting very organized with, and you're being very methodical about where you're headed in a certain direction. And I feel this energy of maybe you're even using this Mercury retrograde energy to reorganize, rethink things, review old ideas. Maybe you're working with people from your past, or you're talking to people from your past, reviewing the way that you loved working together and seeing what you might want to do coming up. Your second card is ego, illusion, dependency, materialism. So, okay, this is that reminder that we can't get in our own way when we really want to do something our heart is asking us to do. We do have to answer the call to go higher with our abilities, our life purpose, and be a leader. And what I see going on for Sagittarius here is you're being called to really be a leader in a certain environment, or with a group of people, or maybe a life purpose. And you've been hurt in the past when you've tried to really share your gifts. But so your ego may pop up and say, well, every time we, try to share this gift or this skill or this knowledge, we get ignored or we get taken advantage of. that's the past. And you're being asked here to not let your ego dictate the future. The ego is going off of what's happened in the past. The ego does not know what's happening in the future. By getting really organized with your resources, this is how you can overcome that. You can say to your ego, well, yes, in the past, that person took advantage of my time and energy. This time, I'm going to set my prices up front. I'm going to have a policy about cancellations. I'm just using business examples because it's easy, but you're going to tell your ego, no, we're going to be organized this time so it won't happen again. And if it does happen again, we're going to be fine because I've got a plan B, plan C, plan D to keep me organized and on the goal and on the purpose that we're headed towards. So let's get your third card so we can pull it all together. You have the addictions card, reactive behaviors, reclaiming your power. Yeah, so you're reclaiming your power from the ego. And I do feel like maybe you have been affected by people who have suffered from addictions. Maybe even you have suffered through some things that were almost like an addiction. Sometimes we can be like mentally addicted to the idea of something, right? Where we just keep going back to the same wounding, the same thought process. So we have to break out of that. And the best way to do it is by being organized. So what I feel like the main message here for Sagittarius is that you might have some things pop up between now and the end of the month that feel like you're getting pulled back into an old pattern, right? Because addictions can just refer to old behaviors, right? And maybe that behavior is the constant worry or the constant second guessing or the constant assuming the worst kind of thing. And your power just comes from saying, you know what, I'm just going to bulldoze right through that. If I start catching myself worrying, I'm going to go recheck my to-do list. I'm going to go recheck my supplies. I'm going to do what I have to do to feel organized, to feel balanced. And, I'm going to be very logical about this. I'm going to take the lead and I'm not going to let my ego trap me in this idea that it's always going to turn out the same, because there is a new way to overcome this issue here. And I really think with the addiction card and the ego card together, it's a new way of approaching an old thought pattern or process. And it's really about having those tools in your toolbox. So you're gathering your tools, you're knowing what you're going to do if a certain environment comes up. And the easiest one to share with you is back when I left my small business consulting service and I started doing intuitive work and doing one-on-one sessions. There was a lot of times where I didn't want to charge ahead of time, but it ended up being that by setting up a situation where people booked their appointment and paid ahead of time, that the people that showed up were ready to show up and they listened more and they understood boundaries more, and it was a much more flow of a session. And even in my small business consulting practice where I did accounting work and all kinds of things, I did have clients who didn't follow through on the things they were supposed to do and payment plans and things like that because I didn't set boundaries up front about my fees and my time. And so it was a lesson to me that while, that was something I had to figure out, it was that emperor energy of get organized, put some filters in place. The right people will show up who you're meant to work with or are meant to be in your life. So I hope that resonates with you guys. It's a little bit of a tangent there. Let me know what you're working on, where you're setting boundaries. I read all your comments, even emojis. Thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing. It really helps my channel out. All right, Capricorns, let's get to your March bonus messages. Your first message here for your March bonus is 10 of Air. The end of a difficult situation, embrace the change, expect things to get better, recovering from an addiction. Another addiction card that we have with Sagittarius. But things are getting easier. Something has ended. It's an opportunity for a breath of fresh air, and there's relief there. And one of the things I've been telling my online community, I have an online community called the Inner Circle. Everybody's welcome to join. That I tell them that if there's something that has ended and there's even the tiniest bit of relief, there's something there that you need to explore. So let's keep going. Your second card is Wise Counselor, Belonging, Learning, and Traditions. Whatever is ending is taking you into this next level of exploration, of adding to your skills and knowledge, or possibly being the teacher and really feeling like you belong in a certain group of people, in a home, in an environment. Your third card, before we pull all this together, is Finding Love, Spouse, Lover. Are you looking for love? But I know a lot of you Capricorns are not looking for love, but you are finding this love in your community, in your home and environment. So let's pull all of this together. Again, I will say it again, if something came to an end or does come to an end because of this eclipse season, we're all seeing endings. But if there's even the tiniest bit of relief, I want you to go deeper, asking why. Why am I relieved? What's the benefit of this ending? Always good to look for the silver lining, right? But go deeper, because I think a lot of times sometimes with eclipses, but any kind of sudden ending feels shocking, and it's really hard to see how this could possibly be good for anybody, right? But that's where we have to go higher, and we have to trust that there are things that we've planned for our life, for us to learn, for us to experience. And we can connect with our higher self to try to see a higher perspective there, and really trying to see love in the situation. So even if it's a situation where it's the end of a friendship, or it's the end of a relationship, or it's the end of a job, you're trying to be grateful for the time that it was good and the benefits you got. And you're looking for, where do I feel relieved and where am I now free to do things differently, right? So that's what I'm asking you to do. Maybe you are getting some counseling too. If there is some kind of ending, if somebody's going through a divorce, or you lost a job, or you're just going through some kind of grieving process, I highly recommend seeking, third party to be a loving listening ear. You could also seek a loved one that you trust to support you through this process and help you see the benefits of this ending. But yeah, I really feel like where you're headed with this ending is so much more loving than you can imagine. And I think that's why this card is coming up. Some of you, it is guiding you to your next spouse or your next ideal partner. But for those of you not actually looking for love because you're already in a relationship, or you're just not looking for it, I think that what it is just remember, whatever these endings are, if you do the homework and you do some soul searching and you try to understand why there was some level of relief there, you're going to see that there's a much more loving path for you and loving environment. So I want to know what this is for you guys, Capricorns, if anything specifically ended with these eclipses, or you just know that you're ready to be done with something because it's just too much of a burden. But either way, just let me know how you're doing. I read all your comments. I really appreciate even emojis, and I appreciate you liking, sharing, and subscribing. It really helps me out. All right, Aquarius, Aquas, how's it going, you guys? Let's see what does Aquarius have for March 2026. Bonus messages, you have a renewal card. Archangel Jeremiel, review and evaluate a favorable assessment of the facts. Time to move in a different direction. We are in Mercury retrograde right now, so I do think that you guys are reviewing some things, especially around relationships, where you're going, maybe I am ready to move in a new direction. And it could literally be that you are renewing your vows within a relationship. And it doesn't mean that you're like going and having a ceremony, but you're realizing, oh, I've been so busy with work, I haven't really been focused on my partner. Or, oh, I've been so busy with this business partner, I haven't been working on my own goals for my business. So I do think it's going to be really important to review, again, this is all 12 signs at the beginning of this, reviewing where are you putting your energy. And maybe you are putting too much energy into something that's not reciprocal. So your second card is Five of Water. Yeah. So disappointment, regret, and forgiveness. This is the thing. You are going to have to move in a new direction, and you're going to feel a little bit like, why did I put so much time and energy into that for just to spill all these cups? But again, we have to remember there's still a carton of milk and 2 cups. For those of you listening on the podcast platforms, this person's on the ground crying over 3 spilled cups of milk. But there's still 2 cups on the table and there's a carton there, and there's an opportunity to do something with that. You might have to change your plans. Maybe you were going to make something that required 5 cups of milk and now you're going to do something different that only requires 2 cups of milk, right? I'm just being very literal there. And I normally read intuitively, not literally, but I do feel like you felt like you've put a lot of investment. You've invested a lot of time and energy in something and you're going to realize it's not working out. But you got to look at it as a sunk cost. And what did you learn from it? So let's get your third card and we'll pull it all together. Loss, reversal of fortune. So here's the deal. I just mentioned sunk costs. You've put a lot of time and energy into an organization, a relationship, a home, a project, and it has to pivot. It's not working. It's cost you time. It's cost you energy. It's cost you, this is also an emotional drain, right? Being so focused on what's not working. And it is an opportunity. It says reversal of fortune, right? Because you have this loss card here. You gotta flip the script. You gotta say, I didn't lose. I gained experience. Yes, it took me off my path a little bit. Yes, it didn't work out the way I wanted to, but I learned something about myself. I learned something about what I want or what I don't want. I got experience, and it's time to just go ahead and move on and cut your losses. So yeah, I mean, we were taught that in accounting when I got my degree in accounting and business administration about sunk costs and how a lot of companies will hold onto an asset that is not performing, and it's actually costing them more to maintain the asset than it is to even, it'd be better to just call it a sunk cost and give it away or sell it for scrap than to sit there and try to keep making money out of something that's not working, right? And I feel like there's this energy of, I've done everything I can to try to shift this energy and it's not working. Time to go in a new direction. Now, this could be a relationship to yourself. So I always say, think of your health and fitness, think of your career and finance. If you're retired, that's your legacy, and think of your relationships. Because sometimes it's like, I'm doing all this, I guess I'm not trying to pick on anybody who does it, but let's say I've been doing CrossFit for a year and I'm not seeing any gains, like that kind of a thing. And it's like, well, maybe your body's better off doing something different to be healthy, right? And I'm just using that as an example, but sometimes it's even something to ourselves we're doing to ourselves, and just but I put all this time and money into this. I signed up for this club. I did all this work, and it's yeah, but it's just not working. So instead of crying over spilled milk, let's see how we can reverse things and move in a new direction. So where are you moving in a new direction, Aquas? What's the first thing that pops into your mind when I say it's time to move in a new direction? I'd love to read your comments. I read every single one, even the emojis. So thank you so much for commenting, liking, sharing, and subscribing. It really helps my channel out. All right, Pisces. We'll do the Pisces and then we'll get to your bonus messages. What do we have for Pisces for the March bonus messages? The Sun card. Did you guys get the Sun card last week? I feel like you did. Who got the Sun card? I mean, the Sun is in your sign, so that's kind of hilarious and perfect, synchronistic. Happy outcome, brilliant new ideas that lead to success. What's this last one say? Have confidence. Have confidence in yourself. Absolutely, Pisces. You deserve to have confidence in yourself. Others see it in you. We have confidence in you. So we want you to have confidence in yourself too. Let's keep going. Our second card is Two of Earth, balance, prioritization, and playfulness. Yeah, I feel like for a lot of Pisces, have confidence that you can work hard and play hard. You can do both. You really can. I believe in you. I've seen you do it. You can afford to go have fun and get out there and do more social activities and still get all your work done and protect your material resources. Well, let's see what your third card is, and then we'll pull it all together. Passions and interests. There we go. Hobbies, sports, and favorite pastimes. Yeah, so I feel like there is this balance you're trying to create between work, social activities, family time, all the things. And there's a little bit of, can I really have it all? And the Sun card is saying, yes, you can. You can. You can have a very successful work life, a very successful relationship, a very successful family and home life, and you can still go do all the things you love. It's a card of balance. So just reassessing your resources, taking a look at your calendar, taking a look at where you're spending your time and energy. Mercury retrograde, right? It's always a good time to assess your daily routine, where you're putting your money, where you're putting your energy, and saying, can I do this a little differently that's a little more efficient? And I think that might be what this big message that I'm getting for Pisces here is. There's probably something that you're making too much work for yourself. Like you're putting a little too much energy into it when it would be just as good of a result, or it would be received just as well if you did it a little differently. The easiest way I can think of it is when I started my YouTube channel, the amount of time I would spend trying to edit all the ums and ises and whatever out. I mean, I do it now, but back when I go back to my videos from 2020 on this channel, sometimes I would edit them out, sometimes I wouldn't. And in the end, it didn't change the result of it. And maybe it's better for people to see that you're human, right? In this world of AI where everything's taking over, maybe it's better when you're not so perfect, So I do feel like this Sun card is really, really positive, but it is reminding you do need to get out there. You do need to allow yourself to have more fun. And what's the first thing that comes into your mind when I say passions, interests, hobbies, sports, and favorite pastimes? Do more of that, because that's going to help you with that Sun card, with that confidence, and it's going to help you develop that trust that it will all get done as long as you're organized and you're clear about where you want to spend your time and energy. And you deserve to have that fun and do that thing, and you will still get your work done too, as long as you stay focused on that balance. And that's what, for those of you listening on all the podcast platforms, this Two of Earth card here is that card of balancing work and play. So please make sure you're doing that with your resources and your time and where you're putting your energy. I love that, Pisces. Let me know what you're balancing. What are your favorite hobbies? What are your favorite interests that you're spending more time on, Pisces? I read all of your comments. Thank you so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing. It really helps me out. All righty. Now we are, whoops, I just clicked on the Libra sign there. Haha. Here we are with the bonus messages. We're going to jump right in. These are meant to clarify anything that resonated with you for all 12 signs. One quick reminder here, in case you didn't know, this show is available on all podcast platforms now. It's brand new. I launched it back in January. So if you want to listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Music, YouTube Music, and or iHeartRadio, whatever your favorite place is, of course, right here on YouTube as well, is a great way to listen on the go, get your messages, add to the clarity. I love to remind you that hindsight is one of our most powerful tools for understanding the way we receive messages. So go listen to some past episodes on your walk or cleaning dishes so that you can use hindsight and see what those messages were resonating. And also check out my freebie link below. In all of my videos, I have something for free that I offer. And so check out that link below to get your freebie. And let's jump into your bonus messages to clarify everything. This is where I like to talk about the present energy, the near future energy, the future energy, and then 2 actions to take, because of course we have to actually put energy into things to get something out. So this will help clarify anything, or it'll just bring something to your attention that maybe you hadn't realized yet. So in the present energy, we have the Justice card. Oh no, sorry. You would think I need glasses, but I just wasn't even paying attention. The Lovers card. Sorry, you guys. On the podcast platform, you're like, what? The Lovers card, relationships, lonely emotions, and choices. I need to wait for the camera to focus before I start rattling off words. But this is the Lovers card. I do think a lot of us are seeing big changes in our relationships. And it's not just romantic relationships, because I know that's where everybody's mind goes, especially after we went through February and Valentine's Day and eclipses. It's like, it always seems to be a bigger breakup day than a uniting day for a lot of people. But, it's okay, because you want to make the choice for love, and it comes first in choosing what's in your highest interest and making sure you're not settling. So this could be that you have kept yourself in a situation with work, with your health and fitness, with your home environment, that you need to make a choice that's a loving choice for you, right? People will stay in friendships and relationships too long because they think it's the loving thing to do, but it's not very loving to themselves, because in the end, something happens where it just isn't meant to be. And then you end up regretting the time you spent, and it just ends up feeling like a waste of time. But it's never a waste of time. And that's not where I'm going with this. I just did a reading if you listen to, I guess it was Aquas, right? Aquarius. We were talking about not crying over spilled milk. A lot of times, I catch people talking about past relationships and exes, and you can hear in the way they talk that they're kicking themselves for not seeing that person was deceitful, or not seeing that person was manipulative. But you were doing the best you could at the time with the knowledge you had. So you have to be really compassionate with yourself. And I do feel like with this card, it's reminding you that in any relationship you have, your relationship to your food, to your fitness, to your health, to your, I just said 3 basically the same things, but to your job, to your people you love in your life, going for that loving choice there. What is going to be the most loving thing? And of course, we want it to be in the highest interest of all. Of course, we want win-win-win scenarios, but sometimes the most loving choice is to change the relationship you have. All right. So let's see what your next card is. Your second card is the 9 of Water, wishes, dreams, and happiness. Yeah, you're making a choice for love. And so maybe you are choosing to bring more love into your life, or you're making a choice out of love that's ultimately going to bring you this peace, this happiness, and allow your wishes to come true. And it does feel like something cool is coming in for you guys that you're really hoping for. And I think with this eclipse energy we just went through, a lot of us can't see that yet. It's still really murky. We saw endings, we saw changes in plans, we saw things revealed. And you had to make a choice. You had to make a choice that was the most loving choice you could make, right? But it is going to bring in this more peaceful, abundant life where you feel emotionally secure. So this is the present energy, the choice you need to make in love. Right now, you need to make a choice out of love. Then coming in the near future, you're going to get this wish that you're wishing for. Okay, so this is really, really positive. Let's look at your future card. We have the Page of Earth, studious, prepared, and cheerful. Yeah, I think you're going to realize you have a totally new outlook on things, especially regarding your material resources, especially regarding where you put your energy and time, because you're going to realize I can have the dream life I want. My wishes can come true. I've got to make the wish, and then I've got to put the energy into it. So this girl is making a wish. She's blowing on, if you're listening on the podcast platform, she's blowing on a dandelion and making a wish. So make a choice, make a wish, and then go do the work. Go learn everything you need to learn to help make those dreams come true. This is a co-creation, right? In this reality, it's co-creation. We put energy in, we ask our spiritual team to help, we work with the divine, and it's co-creation. So let's see what your actions are. Your first action to take is the King of Water. Compassionate, understanding, and trustworthy. Yes, we want to immerse ourselves in this energy of compassion towards ourselves and towards others. We want to be very understanding. This choice that we're making out of love is coming from a compassionate, open-hearted place. The wishes we are making, they're wishes that are not only benefiting us, that they're benefiting the collective. And we're learning everything we need to learn to create that win-win-win scenario. Now, your second action card before we bring all this together. And by the way, thank you guys so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing to this channel. It really helps me out. Check out the freebie link below. Leave me a comment. I read every single one. And don't forget that this is available on all podcast platforms. Your final action is the 3 of Water. Celebration, community, and friendship, which does remind me, in case you're interested, I do have an online community called The Inner Circle. Everybody is welcome to join. You can learn more at devindoer.com. All right, collaboration, community, and friendship is saying you don't have to do this alone. These choices you're making, the wishes you're making, go learn, but surround yourself with like-minded people who have the same goals, they have the same intuition, they have the same ability to be compassionate and open-hearted. And what I see happening here is you are really immersing yourself in the energy of love, and you're surrounding yourself with people who want the same high vibrational things. You don't have to agree on everything. You don't have to want the same things, but you're taking care that not only are you coming from a compassionate, open-hearted, and understanding place, but the people around you are doing the same thing. So I feel like just to wrap it all up again with this choices card is right now at the time you're hearing these messages, you do need to make the loving choice in some situation, and then go ahead and make that wish for what you really want, okay? And then be very forgiving and understanding to those around you, and then make sure you are surrounding yourself with that energy as well and doing the same for yourself. Well, you guys, it's always an honor to connect with you. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.